Not a lot going on, so I'm just going to cover the big chunks here and go from there. I did decide to print money, so I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to build rail pool next turn when I have the money. But I've decided to go ahead and burn those requisition cards and the draft cards. So as you can see, like with the draft, right, that's going to give me more conscripts, 45. I had 3 of those, so 45 times 3. And then the requisition cards, I had 6, and I want to say I used all 6. But as you can see, that gets me, it's the conscripts. Let's see, requisitions gets me 35,000, times 6. So I'm gonna have a lot of money next turn between that and the 600. And the reason I did it was that this number 352 is just simply not low enough for me. We're almost into March, and which means we're gonna probably start fighting it out, especially given that he looks like he's gonna be making a move on Memphis here pretty soon, which I'll show you in a moment. I need to get this number down. The same thing for the cavalry, and I simply can't do it with my current income as it is. As you can see, with the income I have without any requisition cards or printing money or anything like that, with relatively low inflation, I only have 7%, which is really good for the Confederacy in 64. I was only able to build 4 line infantry, 1 elite, and then 2 militia. That's it. So that's why I decided to go ahead and do that and eat the inflation hit and the victory point hit. So he's got Buell here kind of isolated off all by himself, and I'm going to try and be aggressive here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move across the river, and then my hope is I was going to try and attack him this turn, but I wasn't able to make it, within the time allotted. I think it was like day 15 is when I would have got there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move across the river and then attack him next turn. My thought process being I'll be able to get to him before he can pull back, and I don't think he realizes I have these 2 divisions back here. So I would be able to hit him with 8 divisions against his 4 maybe 5 4 yeah 4 divisions. So I should be able to really schwack him pretty hard. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move cavalry to his east, and these partisans here, I'm going to burn these rail lines and cut him off. That's the plan anyways, although we'll see. Now he is moving across the river, so looks like he's moving towards Memphis. Last turn I was saying I kind of wanted to see what he was going to do. I think now it's pretty clear because he's got like a 10,000 power force over here, and then just this 28 power force kind of isolated off. So I think he's shifting everything west. So it actually turned out to be a really good idea that I sent Johnston another corps. I'm going to kind of reposition down here because he did put himself across the river down here instead of attacking me up here, which is fine. And then reposition just south of him and then go from there. And beyond that, I don't really have a whole lot to report on. I'm going to move some brigs up and get some intel up in New York area to kind of figure out what he's up to up there. And beyond that, just kind of building up Norfolk and Richmond, and then also further fortifying Atlanta, the Atlanta approaches and so forth. So, okay, I'm going to submit the turn, and we'll be back. So this is going to be a very quick segment. This is late Feb 64. Not much going on in Virginia. That's why I figure this is going to be pretty fast. I'm trying to build up what I can here at Norfolk. So I've got half of a division. I want to make this a full division sooner rather than later. And then a hospital and a pack train here. Not much going on here. Pickett's really just here for the artillery to shoot anything that tries to go by. And then obviously with Richmond, trying to get a division here as much as possible. I'm rebuilding these guys. And then kind of what you saw up here. So what I'm going to do with AP Stewart is I'm actually going to promote him to Corps Command and then move him to the west and attach him to Johnston and make another corps out of him. The reason being is that he's crossed the river here, right? He went down to this area here. I was able to position myself just south of him, but I could see him moving over to Gibson, Tennessee, and then trying to go across the river and kind of flank me. So I might need another corps here to hold down my left flank potentially. I don't like doing that because then you kind of have this line of units where all three of your corps can't support each other. Only 2/3 of your army can support each other. But I'm going to bring him over so I have that option available and make him bigger. I'm also, I'm trying to be aggressive here since he pulled out of this front, which I found very interesting, to try and support his push into towards Memphis, trying to move up and be aggressive and threaten his depot here at Nashville. Now, the reason I'm doing that is that he doesn't have much of a supply line coming down yet. Now, I know he can use transports and kind of probably park them here in Henry, Tennessee, otherwise known as Fort Henry. Or he could build a depot here, but it's going with the size of the force that he's bringing down. If I can threaten Nashville, which is also a strategic location, get some national morale from that, get the depot, that'd be a pretty big blow to him. So even if I may not be able to actually take it, pushing along his rear and right with that his left flank, to threaten it, maybe I'll take some pressure off of Johnston because he's got a lot of troops coming down. I mean, as you can see here, he's got 8,500 power just with Lion or Rosecrans, and then he's got another 4,400 here. So I think he's pretty much shifted his entire army this way, which leaves us kind of shortfall along his rear. And I don't know if I'll be able to hold him off or how long I can do it, but if I can slow him down, maybe this is an opportunity to kind of push up into Nashville. So we'll see. The next turn it'll be a little more clear what I'm doing here, but I am pushing up north towards Nashville, and I'm bringing A.P. Stewart over to attach him to Johnston's army as a corps commander to add further numbers to Johnston's army. As you can see, Taylor's got 1,000 power force, so he's doing pretty well. And most of these though are line officers, or light infantry, or conscripts, or militia. So we're training those up. But I do intend to take this 35th division here. This is going to be one of the divisions that I'm going to put under Stewart and attached to Johnston. So when Stewart gets over here, I should have enough to give him at least 2 divisions of troops. I'm vacating Little Rock as much as I don't want to, mainly because if he takes Memphis, Little Rock's kind of worthless anyways, and I need the forces over here because he's just throwing everything at me. And even if he takes Little Rock with his troops, it's like, well, okay, well, so what? My overall plan here is if I lose Memphis to kind of create, screw out here. If I lose Memphis to create a defensive perimeter along this rail line going north to south behind this river here. So one army up here, another army down here, and just try and hold him off for like a year and a half. I know that sounds daunting, and it is. However, a lot of these areas are mountainous or hilly or forest, so it's not going to be the easiest job for him to push me out of the various entrenched locations that I'm going to have. So, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'm hoping that we don't come to that, but I'm just kind of trying to think ahead. So I am starting to move, as you can see here, units around the board in the deep south to start digging in so that I can have these places, sufficiently dug in for when my armies have to fall back to them. But that's kind of the fallback plan if I can't hold the line here, which I probably won't be able to because he's got way too many troops. But me pushing up towards Nashville hopefully will take some pressure off of that. Okay, so with the money that we had, we're starting to really get this number down, this overall number of line infantry that we need. So we put 9 more in there. We pretty much caught up with our elite units, so that's good. Cavalry is still kind of hurting, so I'm trying to dig into that a bit more. And then I put 1 into light artillery, field artillery. But we're doing pretty well on artillery. And as you can see, I'm starting to build more militia. because that's obviously the cheaper approach, is just to build these militia, combine them into each other, so I have two elements of militia, and then get them trained up to line infantry. And then here's the artillery that I'm building. What I can say, and I'll just show you because I usually don't do the build screen before I record, it's very frustrating because we're kind of to the point now in the game where it's very hard to build infantry elements that don't have artillery attached to them. So as you can see, 6-pounder, 6-pounder, 6-pounder. These Georgia ones don't have it, which is nice, but there's only 2 more of them left. And then, southeast, all these have artillery in them. And don't get me wrong, those 6-pounders are helpful in certain circumstances, but I've got enough 6-pound artillery. I don't need more for defense purposes. I need 12-pounders. I can't really build 10-pounders anymore, because the only place I can do the 10-pounders is Missouri, and that's like right here along the border of him, and it would only take him moving down to take that out. So I'm left with 12-pounders, but those are better than the 6. So what I really need is guys like this, where it's two infantry, line infantry, and a sharpshooter, and then take the 12-pounder, attach it to it. But I'm stuck with most of these at this point, with the 6-pounders in them. So I just say all that to illustrate that it's behoove of you as the Confederacy early in the game to focus on building as many of your troops as possible in Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, basically the states that you're going to lose earlier in the war, because later in the war it benefits you to have done that, because then you have more options available to you in the deeper parts of the Confederacy. Alright, so I don't think there's anything else that I need to touch on. We did take this right here. We took Grayson. I'm just going to move him over here because there's supply there. That's kind of inconsequential. It just kind of is what it is. And then I also got, by the way, I moved these brigs up here for intel purposes to see what he's doing. And there's definitely something coming, because he's got 16 units up here in New York. So he's planning, and then another 5 here. It's a garrison, though, so actually don't worry about that. But 16 units up here. So I don't think he would be building them up there if he's just going to reinforce his army of the Potomac, or Northeastern Virginia Army, which is stupid. Army of the Potomac. He's probably, I'm guessing, either going to use these guys to... What I'm guessing, and then really I'm just kind of guessing this in an abundance of caution, and because he put this brig right here, is that he wants to land in South Carolina, Charleston, take Charleston, and then march up the rail line towards Atlanta, forcing me to peel troops off to deal with that. And I am currently in the process of trying to build up a corps of 2 divisions to address precisely that concern that I have. So I am working on that. But if he does that, at least I'll have some anticipation that he's doing that. And I'm still trying to figure out in terms of how to defend against that, what the best response for that's going to be. But it's definitely going to... I will have to respond to it, because I can't have him in my deep part of my country just kind of roaming around, not only taking out my economy, but also threatening Atlanta. So there's that. And then obviously with Atlanta, I'm building entrenchments along the rail line here, and then I built this fort behind this river here, with the expectation that if he takes Chattanooga, then his next approach would be Atlanta, and then I would have various defensive positions set up to address that. All right, let's simulate the turn, and I'll be back.